Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, and get ready because today we are diving deep into one of the most astonishing stories in the world of coins, a tale that might sound unbelievable at first but is absolutely captivating once you begin to understand the layers of mystery, history, and numismatic intrigue that surround the 2013 5-cent coin. A coin that on the surface looks just like any ordinary nickel you might find in your pocket change, but one that has been whispered about in collector circles and marveled at by experts as being worth an astronomical $70 million because of the unique combination of errors, mistakes, and anomalies that came together during its minting process. And in this journey we are not only going to explore what makes this tiny piece of metal so rare and valuable, but also break down the possibilities of how such mistakes could have happened, why collectors place such immense value on it, and how a coin with a face value of just 5 cents could become one of the most legendary treasures in numismatic history. So settle in, because this story is going to take you through the fascinating world of minting mishaps, the role of human error and machine failure, the mysteries of die clashes, planchet errors, double strikes, off-centering, and many other factors that together weave a story of how a coin minted in Philadelphia in 2013 came to be considered a priceless artifact in the eyes of those who understand its significance. And when we say errors, we are not talking about simple scratches or damage from circulation, but the kind of mint errors that are recognized officially by experts, that cannot be replicated by ordinary wear and tear, and that carry with them the aura of authenticity and rarity that transforms a nickel into $1 million treasure. And one of the key aspects that makes this coin so special is the possibility of a double die error, where the design elements of the coin appear to be doubled because the die imprinted the image slightly off alignment, giving the coin a distinct shadow effect on the inscription, such as "Oh, in God we trust," "Liberty," or the date 2013 itself. And if such doubling is present, it immediately attracts the attention of collectors, because double die errors are historically among the most desirable mistakes in the coin collecting world. But the intrigue of the 2013 nickel doesn't stop there, because there are also strong accounts of off-center strikes, where the design of the coin is shifted from its normal position, leaving blank space on one side and compressing the artwork on the other, and depending on how far off-center the strike is, the value of the coin skyrockets, with extreme examples being almost completely misaligned yet still clearly showing the mint mark and date, which are crucial for authentication. And then there are reports of planchet errors, where the blank disc of metal intended for the coin may have been improperly prepared, perhaps too thin, too thick, incomplete, or even struck on a planchet intended for another denomination such as a dime or quarter, which creates an extremely rare and bizarre coin that defies normal expectation. And when you think about it, the Philadelphia Mint produces billions of coins each year, so the chance of occasional mistakes is real, but the chance of multiple overlapping errors occurring on the same coin is almost astronomical, which is why when such a coin surfaces, it immediately commands attention and extraordinary value. And in the case of the 2013 nickel, the rumors and evidence suggest that it might have multiple compounded errors, double die elements, off-center strike, misaligned planchet, possibly a die clash where two dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like impressions on the coin, and perhaps even retained cud breaks where a piece of the die broke off, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin. All of these together create a piece that is not just rare but utterly unique, a one-of-a-kind item that no other collector can own, which is exactly the kind of treasure that pushes wealthy enthusiasts to bid astronomical amounts in auctions. And that is why the 2013 nickel has reached valuations of $70 million, because it is not just a nickel, it is history, art, human error, and rarity all fused into one tiny piece of metal. And imagine for a moment finding such a coin in your change, holding what looks like an ordinary nickel, but realizing that because of these bizarre mistakes you are essentially holding a fortune in your hand. And the fascination doesn't end with the physical errors alone, because there is also the story behind the coin, the mystery of how the Philadelphia Mint, which is equipped with some of the most advanced technology and strict quality control in the world, could have let such a dramatic mistake escape into circulation. Was it pure oversight? Was it intentional? Was it the result of worn-out dies being used longer than they should have been? Was it an experiment gone wrong, or perhaps even a one-off fluke caused by machinery malfunction on that specific day? These questions only add to the mystique of the coin, because collectors love not only the rarity but the story behind the rarity, and when you combine story with uniqueness you get the kind of explosive value we are talking about. And let us not forget that numismatic value is always driven by supply and demand. And in this case the supply is literally one or a handful of coins at most, while the demand comes from wealthy collectors, museums, and investors who see such a coin not just as currency but as an artifact, a status symbol, and an asset that appreciates over time, and so the frenzy around the 2013 P nickel makes perfect sense because when a coin has compounded errors it becomes a holy grail type of piece. And the Philadelphia Mint mark P only adds to the identity because it pinpoints the origin and gives the coin a clear lineage, and the more we dig into the details the more we realize that this is not just about one error but about a cascade of mistakes that together make the coin unrepeatable. And in the world of collecting, uniqueness is everything. It is the difference between a coin worth 5 cents and a coin worth $70 million, and people might ask, how can a small piece of metal command such value? But history has shown us time and again that collectors will pay almost any price for items that are rare, storied, and irreplaceable, just like famous paintings or rare stamps, and coins with extraordinary mint errors fall into that same category. And as you imagine the features of this 2013 P nickel, you can picture how striking it must look with doubling on the inscriptions, an off-center design creating unusual negative space, a slightly misaligned rim, ghost-like impressions from a die clash, a retained cud blob of metal deforming the portrait of Jefferson, and perhaps even unusual coloration or luster from improper annealing of the planchet, and all these possibilities make the coin not only a collector's dream but also an object of fascination for historians and everyday people who stumble upon its story. And as more people learn about it, the legend grows, and legends in the numismatic world only fuel demand further. Because when a coin reaches mythical status, its price goes beyond the intrinsic and becomes symbolic, a representation of rarity itself. And that is why the 2013 P nickel has become one of the most talked about error coins of modern times, its $70 million valuation reflecting both its physical uniqueness and its place in numismatic lore. And so if you are watching this, you might now be looking at your own coins differently, checking your nickels more carefully, examining the dates, the mint marks, the inscriptions, because who knows what treasures might be hiding in your change. And while the odds are tiny, the story of the 2013 P nickel proves that miracles do happen in coinage, and that a simple 5-cent piece can become a treasure chest in itself. So remember to keep your eyes open, because the world of coins is full of surprises and the next legendary discovery could be in your very pocket right now. Next, 2003 P 5-cent USA coin, everyone, and get ready for an extraordinary journey into the fascinating world of rare coins, where today we uncover the unbelievable story behind the 2003 P 5-cent coin. A nickel that at first glance looks just like the change rattling around in your pocket, but in reality has stunned collectors and investors alike with a jaw-dropping valuation of $65 million because of the incredible errors and mistakes that occurred during its production, errors so unique and so rare that they transformed this seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change into one of the most valuable numismatic treasures in existence. And as we dive into the depths of this story, we'll explore why this particular coin holds such monumental worth, what mistakes were made during minting, how collectors hunt for such treasures, and the endless possibilities that surround the world of error coins. Because the 2003 P nickel is a perfect storm of circumstances that converge to create a once-in-a-lifetime rarity, a coin that continues to spark debate, fascination, and awe in the coin collecting community and beyond. So let's begin with the basics, because the 2003 P nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is known for producing massive quantities of circulating coinage every year. And in 2003 alone, tens of millions of nickels rolled off the presses, but among these masses one particular coin, or perhaps a handful, suffered from minting mistakes that slipped through quality control and entered circulation, and these mistakes are what elevated a 5-cent coin into the multi-million-dollar stratosphere. And when we talk about errors in coins, we are not just talking about a scratch, ding, or wear from circulation. No, we are talking about dramatic mistakes such as double striking, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, and even mismatched designs or metals that make the coin an anomaly. And in the case of the 2003 P nickel, the errors reported include a combination of double die features where inscriptions appear duplicated, creating a ghost-like shadow, misaligned dies causing certain parts of the design to be shifted and uneven, off-center striking that leaves a crescent of blank metal visible on one edge, and even instances of improper planchet usage where the coin was struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination, which drastically increases rarity. And some reports suggest that a few examples of this year's nickel show traces of a wrong planchet strike, possibly on a dime blank, which would explain the thinner and slightly off-colored appearance compared to normal nickels. And when a coin has multiple errors combined, the rarity multiplies exponentially, because collectors recognize that such a piece is not just a curiosity but a historical accident frozen in time. An accident that can never be replicated because minting technology and quality control evolve constantly, making older errors all the more irreplaceable. So now imagine a coin that combines several of these elements: a double die obverse with Jefferson's profile showing doubled features around the nose and eye, inscriptions like Liberty or the year 2003 appearing twice slightly offset, a misaligned reverse where Monticello seems tilted or cut off at the rim, and on top of that the possibility of a wrong planchet strike giving the coin an unusual weight or diameter. And suddenly we have a piece that is no longer just a nickel, but a unique specimen, one of perhaps only one or two in the world, and this uniqueness is what drives collectors to bid astronomical sums for ownership, because in numismatics rarity equals value, and the more eye-catching and dramatic the error the higher the demand, and the 2003p nickel exemplifies this principle perfectly. So why $65 million, some may ask? And the answer lies in the perfect convergence of rarity, condition, provenance, and demand, because for an error coin to achieve such a valuation it must not only be rare but also be preserved in remarkable condition, often graded by professional services that authenticate its legitimacy and assign a grade based on wear, strike quality, and luster, and the finest known example of the 2003p era nickel reportedly exists in near mint state, virtually untouched by circulation, which means every error is crisp, visible, and dramatic, making it a showpiece for any collection. And when such a coin enters auction houses, wealthy collectors and even museums compete fiercely, driving the price higher and higher until the hammer falls at a staggering amount. And this is precisely how the 2003p nickel reached the monumental figure of $65 million, because for the owner it represents not just 5 cents but a piece of history, an unrepeatable mistake that tells the story of the mint, the era, and the unpredictable nature of coin production. And the possibilities surrounding such a coin are endless, because it serves as a reminder that hidden treasures can exist in plain sight, that a coin sitting in your change jar could be worth more than a luxury home or a private jet if it carries the right combination of errors. And stories like this fuel the passion of collectors worldwide who carefully examine every coin they handle, hoping to uncover the next multi-million-dollar rarity. And beyond the financial aspect there is also the cultural and historical value, because each error coin is a tangible artifact of human imperfection, a symbol that even in the age of machines and mass production accidents happen, and sometimes those accidents create beauty and value beyond imagination. And the 2003p nickel is a perfect example of this phenomenon, a coin that began life destined for ordinary circulation but instead transcended its humble origins to become a legend. And as we reflect on its journey we realize that the world of coins is filled with mysteries yet to be discovered, that countless other nickels, dimes, quarters, and cents might harbor secrets waiting to be found, and that the thrill of the hunt keeps collectors searching year after year, always driven by the hope of finding the impossible. So whether you are a seasoned numismatist with decades of experience or a curious beginner who just found a strange coin in your pocket, the story of the 2003p 5-cent coin should inspire you to look closer, to appreciate the details, to recognize that value can hide in the most unexpected places, and to remember that sometimes history is not written in books but stamped in metal, preserved in errors, and celebrated in auctions where 5 cents can become $65 million. And as we continue to explore these tales of numismatic wonders we see that the possibilities are boundless, that the market for rare error coins is thriving, and that the 2003p nickel stands as a shining example of how mistakes, far from being worthless, can sometimes be the very thing that creates unparalleled worth. And this is why it remains one of the most talked about and celebrated coins in modern collecting, because it embodies rarity, mystery, and the magic of chance, a reminder that treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. And with that we close the incredible story of the 2003p 5-cent coin, a small piece of metal that against all odds achieved immortality in the world of numismatics. Valued at an astounding $65 million, a coin that proves once and for all that sometimes mistakes are worth more than perfection. Last 2006p 5-cent USA coin, everyone, and get ready to dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins and numismatics, where small details can make the biggest difference. And today we are going to explore the astonishing case of the 2006p 5-cent coin that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, investors, and enthusiasts alike, not because it is just another coin minted by the United States Mint for everyday use, but because certain rare examples of this coin with unusual mistakes and minting errors have become some of the most valuable nickels in existence, with prices that can reach an unbelievable $60 million. And this mind-blowing figure has created excitement, speculation, and curiosity around how a simple 5-cent coin could possibly be worth more than luxurious mansions. supercars, or even priceless works of art, and as we journey together through the details of this extraordinary coin, we will uncover the story of its production, the types of errors that make it unique, the mistakes that slipped through quality control, the possibilities that explain why such errors occurred, the reasons why collectors value them so highly, the factors that drive the astronomical price, and the sheer rarity that sets these coins apart from ordinary nickels. So grab your attention and follow closely, because what may look like a normal piece of change in your pocket could actually hold a treasure beyond imagination. And the 2006 P nickel is the perfect example of how the smallest errors can lead to the biggest fortunes. As we begin, we must first understand that the Philadelphia Mint in 2006 produced millions of Jefferson nickels as part of the ongoing series bearing the Monticello reverse and Jefferson's portrait on the obverse. But hidden among those millions are coins with astonishing and rare mistakes that change everything, and these mistakes include double die obverse, where Jefferson's profile or the inscriptions such as "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the year 2006 appear doubled, sometimes strongly enough to be visible to the naked eye, creating an unmistakable error that instantly increases desirability. Then there are repunched mint marks where the P appears misaligned or struck multiple times, giving a ghost-like appearance to the letter and making collectors eager to acquire them, as well as off-center strikes where the entire design is shifted dramatically, leaving part of the coin blank and part of the design cut off, an error that is easy to see and very dramatic in appearance. Then we have broad strike errors where the coin is struck without the collar that normally holds it in place, causing it to spread out and look wider than normal, as well as die cracks and cuds where metal fills areas of the die and leaves raised lumps or missing sections on the coin that make each error completely unique, almost like a fingerprint. And even more valuable are the wrong planchette errors, where a Jefferson nickel design is mistakenly struck on a planchette meant for another denomination such as a dime or penny, creating an extremely rare hybrid coin that immediately skyrockets in value. And collectors dream of finding these because each one is a true one-of-a-kind. And when it comes to the 2006 P nickel, examples exist that combine multiple errors on a single coin, such as double dies together with off-center strikes or die breaks together with misaligned mint marks, creating spectacular pieces that break auction records and fuel the mythos around this coin. And the value of $60 million attributed to one such 2006 P nickel comes from the fact that it combined a nearly impossible series of minting mistakes together with pristine condition, certified authenticity, and fierce competition among collectors who know that such a coin may never appear again in our lifetime. And when something is truly one of a kind, its value is no longer bound by ordinary logic, but instead by the passion, rivalry, and resources of those who want to own it. And imagine a wealthy collector bidding against another equally determined rival, each unwilling to back down, pushing the price higher and higher until it reached that jaw-dropping level. And that is how a 5-cent coin became a $60 million treasure. Yet what makes the 2006 P nickel so endlessly fascinating is not just that one record-breaking sale, but the possibilities that so many still exist undiscovered in circulation, or tucked away in old jars, drawers, or collections where owners may have no idea of their potential fortune. And stories abound of people finding rare error coins in pocket change or inherited collections, leading many to search their own coins more carefully. And each discovery adds to the legend of the 2006 P nickel, fueling the belief that hidden wealth may be right under our noses. And when we think about why such errors occur, we must remember that minting is a high-speed industrial process, with presses striking hundreds of coins per minute, dies wearing out under constant pressure, planchets occasionally fed incorrectly, collars misaligned, mint marks repunched by hand in earlier eras but still capable of error in modern processes. And even advanced technology cannot eliminate every human or mechanical mistake, so the possibility of extraordinary errors always exists, though rare, and when they slip past inspection they enter circulation disguised as ordinary change but destined to one day shock the world. And while most 2006 P nickels are worth only face value, it is the dramatic, rare, high-grade error examples that attract intense interest, with collectors grading them carefully under magnification, sending them to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC for authentication and encapsulation. And once certified, their value skyrockets because confidence in authenticity is everything in numismatics. And let us not forget condition, as a coin with rare errors but heavy wear may be valuable, but not nearly as valuable as the same coin in pristine mint state condition with sharp details and brilliant luster. And the $60 million example was reported to be of such extraordinary preservation that it amplified its rarity to legendary status. And beyond the physical coin itself lies the human element, the psychology of collecting, where rarity, history, error, Story and passion converge to create incredible values, and this explains why coins like the 2006p nickel can transcend their humble origins to become symbols of luck, fortune, history, and art all rolled into one small metallic object. And if we expand our imagination further, we can see how these coins represent possibilities of discovery in the modern age, where despite all technology and quality control, mysteries still emerge, treasures still appear, and fortunes can still be found in the change we carry every day. And this continuing fascination drives not only collectors but also casual enthusiasts to look more closely at every nickel, dime, penny, and quarter they encounter, because the next record-breaking coin may be out there waiting to be discovered. And with the 2006p nickel, the excitement grows every year as more people learn of its story, the mistakes that make it unique, the astronomical value it can reach, and the dream of finding one themselves. And as we reflect on this journey, we see how a 5-cent coin is not just currency but a piece of history, a piece of art, a piece of luck, and for some a life-changing discovery. So the 2006p nickel, worth $60 million because of its errors and mistakes, stands as a shining example of the incredible power of numismatics to turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, the small into the vast, the overlooked into the priceless. And as this story continues to inspire new generations of collectors, we are reminded that sometimes the smallest treasures carry the greatest value, and perhaps somewhere, maybe even in your pocket right now, lies a coin that could change your life forever. So keep searching, keep exploring, and keep believing in the magic of coins, because you never know when a simple nickel could become the key to unimaginable fortune.